All right, so I put this out a couple of days ago about the shot heard around the world, and what I'm referencing to is most of our wars have been shot by or started by a single shot. So I'm here to prove to you how I was able to figure out that this year and time, and this has to deal with the Civil War, and this is in Denver, Colorado. I don't know what I did on my last video or the one before that, but I got black flag like nobody's business. So I'm trying to tip a toe around this. So when I cover this, I don't know if somebody messed up because I'm going to show you in files that I have where flags are altered. I mean, when you look through the history of Colorado and you look through, it's a whole fictional story, and it like all of it. When you start reading it together and you start like analyzing what this person said, you realize it's just it's bullshit. All right, so because I opened my mouth and I said I'd prove this, one of the things is I've been trying to do this with the Google Drive. So this one is just a standard account that I put up so you guys could see what you're actually looking into to realize there's no viruses or anything. I'm not here to harm anyone. I'm here to show the truth, and I have all the evidence. And one of the things is I have enough evidence to point it out between God, mankind, and myself to show you guys that they couldn't have built what they did. So if you go back to this one, this is very interesting. I got this all in my files, and I'll cover this through the video, but I just wanted to give you guys, this is going to be painful. This is not something I wanted to do or needed to do. It's something I have to do with my relationship with God, the creator. And I'm not here to offend anyone with God, but my reference to God is Doc from Back to the Future. That's my God. And whoever your God is, I hope he's just as cool. But yeah, Doc's an interesting guy. He has some funny ideas. Okay, so how I'm gonna prove this? I mean, how do you prove history? Okay, historical evidence can be a variety of forms. Among most important types of historical evidence are primary sources. Primary sources consist of original documents, artifacts, or other pieces of information that were created at that time under the study. So I'm going to put all this together, and I'm going to be able to do it by putting, I really wish I wouldn't have closed that. But I'm going to put all this together by buildings. Let me see if this one is in here. And the history of this is very interesting when you start to piece this together. That was actually over this. The way I can prove history is through photographs. And this is my page. This is what I've used to basically set this up so you guys can, interact. But anyway, on my home page, you can go to these two Google Drives. That's where these are at, and they'll take you to what I showed you earlier on that other page. Okay, so I want to have you guys understand. All they've done is basically destroyed us, always back to the Stone Age. And I'm going to show you where possibly either multiple timelines came together, or we've been here way longer than they've told us, and that would explain, just theories on Tartarian, the mud flood, all of that. But I'm going to show you hard evidence of United States history to put all this together so you can see what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, it's going to take a lot because there's a lot of information to cover from Adam to Armageddon. And that's basically the easiest way to explain it. And when did they get electricity? When did they get plumbing? And all of that, I'm going to cover all of it. And I've picked 4 towns in Colorado, Denver, Pueblo, Canyon City, and Salida, because there's a trail that goes through that, and it's easy to point out. And I'm going to show you our history is not what they said it is. Just because in Denver, this was in my last one, and I'll go through this with the evidence that I have. So you guys are going to have to bear with me on this and watch my other videos, but I'm going to prove it. So basically the timeline, I went through and I highlighted a lot of stuff. You'll find it in my drive. I kind of covered that in my last video, where you can go through and then look through the different stuff that I have. Sorry for the hit and miss, but it loaded it weird, and drives and still kind of loaded it weird. So I've never seen so much stuff fight me. I mean, seriously, fight me to get this documented. I mean, it's like the internet and everything is working against me. But these are all documented buildings, time frames, and this is how I'm going to prove the history is not what they've told us. And at least I can prove it with photographs. So I'm going to leave this video at that. This is just an introduction. I want to give you guys an idea of who I am, really, because this could be anybody off of the internet. Well, that's pretty much what it is, but at least you'll have an idea of who I am and why I was able to pick this out. Through history, you have to look at times and markers. When did they build stuff, trees, buildings as they disappear, and unique architect features that are just absolutely stunning to put time. And how would you do that? I mean, how would you go through and be able to prove it? It says take documented pictures. How would you tie these two buildings and this place together? Or the previous picture I showed you. We have trees growing, and this is supposed to be of downtown Denver. This is number 111. Now, I've had a really weird time trying to figure out what these dates and stuff mark on these pictures because there are basically all over the board. It's like, and so I'm wondering if they're a number sequence that the previous civilization or previous history, had. And I want you guys to understand, how do you put this together? Okay, so when you go back and you look at this, I mean, it's absolutely crazy because this is all over every town in Colorado, major city. Fires destroy stuff, burn shit to the ground. Floods come in, destroy shit. And I'm not here to baby anyone to, give them the proper. I mean, at this point in the game, you just got to be as real as you can be and point out the history. So, I mean, all of this stuff is markers, and I'm going to prove all of it. And then the other thing you got to think about when you're looking through all this stuff is the financials, the wars, and everything that has transpired through the United States with the diseases, finances, all of it. Like it has been just one ass kicking after another. And surprisingly, we've survived. So I'm pretty impressed with that now that I understand history and I know what truth is history. And the more I uncover, the more I understand. Like I said, how do you go from one picture to another to prove where you're at in time? And how do you find markers? I mean, how would you find identifiers that you could figure out what to look for and to piece together? And what I mean by this is you're going to start to see, let me see, these pictures, if you go into my drives, they actually are numbered in there, and I have them all into links and everything, and I've gone over that in my last videos. So just fumble through my drives and you'll find everything, all the evidence, because I took these directly off the internet, off of established historical records, and this is what this for is historic history. If you look at this house and this house, and I have many other houses and stuff, and you can see construction going on right here, but you can also see the growth and the massive because it's basically in the same spot, just looking a little different. Because that's that house right there. So, like I said, follow me through this. It'll be painful, but I'm telling you, yeah, history with trees, markers, and time, buildings, how they did this. Yeah, it's going to be interesting when you guys figure out what I'm presenting to you. You're really going to be shocked because you're going to realize that we've been conquered, and that's the honest truth.